Hey there. So we're talking of credit again, judgments. Does judgment affect your credit? What can you do to avoid judgments getting on your report and how to get it off if it happens? So we're gonna talk about that in a minute. Hey there, this is KG. I'm a realtor with Fairfax Realty in Greenbelt, where we have buyers to buy their dream home and sellers to sell their houses. And we do this in the Maryland, DC, and Virginia region. So listen, if you're looking to buy, sell, or move into Maryland, DC, or Virginia, or move out of this area, contact us below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get updates once we upload a new video. So we're back on our series about credit. So on this series, we're going to talk about judgments. Does judgments, civil judgments, affect your credit? And what can you do to avoid actually having judgment on your credit? And then if you already have judgment on your credit, what can you do to get it up? So today I'm talking again to Fred, who is a credit specialist. So we're going to talk about this thing. So Fred, introduce yourself one more time.
Hey, for those of you that don't know, my name is Fred Cadet. Call me Financially Fred. I am a credit specialist, financial consultant, been in business for 3.5 years. And, just, been continuing to educate individuals nationwide on credit, the power of credit and what it can do. And, leading people to getting approved for loans, cars, things of that nature, and just, changing the culture.
That's right. That's right. So that's what we're trying to do all about it to make sure you have sound information to make financial decisions. So Fred, today we want to talk about judgment. That is civil judgment. So how does civil judgment, money judgment affect credit? Because I've had some people say it doesn't affect credit. How does it affect credit?
Okay, so for those of you that don't know what a civil judgment is, it basically it's a court order, right? It results from when a creditor sues you for an outstanding debt that you owe and they win the case. So like I know a lot of times people have things in collections and they don't pay it and they ignore it, and that collection agency files a lawsuit, right? And they sue you and they serve you in court, and
Yes.
then they wind up winning the case. That will result in a civil judgment. And once a civil judgment is ordered against you, what they can do now is start garnishing your wages and things of that nature. So basically, you'll be forced to pay back that debt.
To pay that debt. So, but does it affect the credit score? Does it do anything with the
So
credit report?
in recent years, it did before, but in recent years, it doesn't affect the actual credit score.
Okay.
However, it still affects you for when you're trying to get a loan, because the lender can still pull up your file and still be able to see if you have a judgment on it, because a judgment is still part of public record.
Yes.
So they'll be able to pull it up and see if you had a judgment. So that will affect your ability to get a loan.
Yes.
Even though it doesn't affect the score per se, it still can affect your ability to get that loan that you're looking for.
Definitely, because what you just said is so important. Because what I know, even for mortgage loan, is if you have a judgment, even though it does not affect your score, like you said, but it will affect the ability for the mortgage for the loan people to give you loan because that judgment attaches to that house when you buy the house. Yeah. So your
Right.
score may not be affected, but it actually affect your ability to do anything because it's a judgment that is against you. Okay, so that's good. So the other question is, how can we avoid judgments? How can we avoid it? How can people avoid getting
So,
judgment?
okay, so what a lot of people don't know is one of the main reasons why these collection agencies win that type of case, or these
Mhm.
creditors win that type of case, is because when they serve a debtor, somebody who owes, that person usually doesn't respond. They usually ignore the court order documents and things of that nature, which results into an automatic judgment being placed against them. So basically, it's a default.
Okay.
Automatic default once you don't respond to that court order document. So the way in which to avoid it, one of the first things you want to do if you get served any papers, you must respond.
You're saying don't ignore it?
No, do not ignore it. You must respond. Respond to the letters. Then when you do, they're gonna set up like a court date or whatever the case may be. And then once you get that court date, make sure you show up.
At court, in court.
Yes, make sure you show up.
Okay, but so if somebody said, well, I really owe this money, I don't know what to do, I'm just going to let them do
So
whatever.
what you would do is this, right? In that case, what you would issue them is pretty much a debt validation letter.
Hmm.
So what the debt validation letter entails is basically saying, hey, prove to me that I owe this debt and prove to me that you're licensed in my state to be able to collect the debt that I that you say that I owe you.
Okay.
But in the debt validation letter, it's very descriptive and
Hmm.
it has like, a bunch of things that you would basically ask them to show proof of.
Okay.
The exact amount, the date in which they, have the debt, and uh, also, the licensing and the just a variety of other things. But
Already
those
worth it.
are
Okay. And so knowing that this debt collector are actually not the ones that own the debt, right? They
Mhm.
bought it. So that means they have to now go and research these things, right, from where they bought it from. And many times they don't have it. So you may be successful for them to drop it, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because most of the time they don't have that.
Mm.
They can't show you that type of proof that you're asking for.
Oh, okay.
Most of the time they're not.
Mm.
And also, a lot of times what happens is usually they try to do that because they know the majority of these people will not show up or will not answer, and they're gonna default on it.
In court, yeah.
Right.
So,
So what so I say that to say what you would do in that situation is basically prove it. Because remember, that collection agency purchased your debt from that original creditor that you owed for pennies on the dollar.
yes.
And also a lot of collection agencies don't really want to go through the whole case, don't want to go through, going to court and doing all of those things because it's going to cost them money,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's going to cost them a lot of money because especially if their headquarters are in another state, they're going to have to fly out a representative to show up in court to represent that company.
Okay.
And a lot of them won't do that. So even a lot of times, if you just show up to court, more than likely, whoever represents that collection agency more than likely will not show up. And if they
Oh,
don't show up, that will result into the case being dismissed.
dismiss, yeah. Okay. So it's very, very important that you respond to any letter and then show up in court. And then
Right.
you can use that strategy of debt validation to see. So I guess that it's at this point that you can actually negotiate with them instead of making going to court, right? You can negotiate at this point to pay it off or to negotiate to not go to court, right?
I mean, the first thing you'll do is to have them validate the debt that they say you owe.
Okay, before you do
You don't
anything.
want to negotiate anything at first.
Don't negotiate anything. Ask them to validate. Give me proof that,
Validate and show and
okay,
prove.
give me proof. Okay, okay. So I guess if they cannot validate it, then they cannot go to court.
Exactly. They're gonna have to throw away the case.
No, okay. Okay. So very important point to note. All right. So let's say somebody now they didn't take all this advice because they didn't hear us discussing it. It's already happened. Now they have judgment on their record is showing up. What can they do?
At that point, what they would do is simply file a dispute letter, and challenge the judgment
Oh,
with the collection agencies.
okay.
And that's pretty much what our company does. So like if somebody has a judgment, we
Mm-hmm.
go and dispute that,
Okay.
basically have them try to validate it. And a
Oh.
lot of times that results into them getting the judgment removed.
Oh, okay. So you can challenge it by actually contacting that company that has the judgment, and then it'll be removed. Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Wow. That is something I learned. So, but you really want to, you don't want it to get to that point, right? So, but if
Yeah, you want to avoid that.
Okay,
At,
okay, okay.
at all costs, you want to avoid that.
Well, of course. Okay, so you just mentioned something right now. You said that's one thing that your company does. They help people write that letter, the channeling letter, and send it to them, right?
Correct.
Okay. So do you also help people that wants to do the depth validation that we talked about earlier? That if you
Yes, absolutely. We provide templates.
okay,
So
okay,
we have the exact templates of what to say, and pretty much what the client would do is simply just put in the the accurate information, such as the account number, the name of the collection agency, and things of that nature.
and send it to them.
All they
Okay,
would pretty much fill in, and then their signature, obviously.
okay. Oh wow. Okay, okay, okay. So thank you, Fred. We just talked about judgments, how not to get judgment, how to deal with it if you actually get a letter, and how to get it off your credit. So if you listen to what we just said, you will get 2 points that Fred just talked about. So if you need any information on Fred, please contact me. A lot of people have been contacting me. Contact me, so I'll give you this information so that you can get judgment of your credit and don't get judgment on your credit. So
Yes.
until next time, when we talk about another credit issue, see you, Fred. Listen, guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get updates once we upload a new video. Fred, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Talk to you
Okay,
later.
thank you so much for having me.
Thanks.